Welcome again, my brothers and sisters of the Discalced Carmelite secular order, and those of you who are interested in the Discalced Carmelite secular order, either discerning a vocation or just interested in the spirituality of this order for lay people, the spirituality for lay people of this order. I've been talking about covering some material from a book I wrote some years ago on the secular order called Welcome to the Secular Order of the Discalced Carmelites. And in that book, in the second chapter, I talk about, it might be called an identity kit, or a profile of the secular order member, highlighting in 6 different areas the importance of the vocation, or the signs of the living of the vocation to be a secular order member. And I've done, we're now up to the 5th M. The first M, the 6 M, there are 6 M's. The first M was meditation, the second M, morning prayer, evening prayer, the third M, Mass, the 4th M, Mary, and then the 5th M is meetings. And I discussed in the last video, and I must beg your pardon, in the last video I kept saying that was the 21st video, but that was the 20th video. This is the 21st video. So please excuse my confusion. But we're talking about meetings, the importance of meetings, the value of meetings in the life of the secular order member. The first of the foundation points I tried to make about the importance of meetings was that it is important spiritually. It is important for the spiritual life. We make a commitment to the order, and the commitment to the order is concrete. We don't make a commitment to follow one spirituality. We don't make if we love St. Teresa of Jesus, we love St. John of the Cross, we love St. Teresa, we love St. Teresa Benedict of the Cross. If we love them, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm a member of the order or that I need to become a member of the order. Because there are many people in the world who are not members of the secular order who read St. Teresa, read St. John of the Cross, read St. Teresa, read St. Teresa Benedict of the Cross. Many people, there are probably millions of people who wear the scapular, but there are not millions of Discalced Carmelites. So this commitment that we make is made to the order, not to a spirituality. The spirituality of the order. And the spirituality of the order is vast. We might have a particular saint, particular writing that helps us the most in our own spiritual life, but we have a connection. And this is part of the spirituality of the meeting. We have a connection to centuries of Carmelites, to years and years and years of people who have made the commitment to this order. We inherit from them what they've committed themselves to, and we pass on to future generations what we have inherited. The second motivation for the importance of meetings is in the psychological, sociological area. There's the necessity of forming relationships with people who can support us, whom we can support. Not to be boss or not to be subject, but to be brothers and sisters to each other in searching our way. That takes a lot of interaction with people. When I'm all alone in my room, I can think, oh, everything's wonderful. But when I mix with other people, then I find out just how wonderful I am. I have to be kind, I have to be charitable, I have to be patient. I have to let another person have their way. Oh my goodness, that's very difficult to let other people have their way. But that happens in meetings. Interaction is so important for the development of the vocation of a Carmelite. As I said before, quoting my master, and I love the idea. We come together to learn how to be alone with the one who we know loves us. Alone with, not alone. We're not isolates. Our solitude is very deep and very spiritual, but we are human beings and we need support to be able to do it. If we don't need support, we don't belong in the secular order. We don't need to have a need for the secular order. If you don't need to go to meetings, so, well, where's your commitment to the order? You don't need it. But we need it. We who are members of the order need to be members of the order. We make a commitment to be members of the order. The third area where I want to say about the importance of meetings is Saint Teresa and Saint John of the Cross and Saint Teresa and Saint Elizabeth of the Trinity and Saint Teresa Benedicta of the Cross. All of these saints, all of our saints of Carmel, have a doctrine, have a teaching. And I, as one person to witness to this, even though I read St. Teresa before I became a Carmelite, and as a matter of fact, it was the way of perfection that made me want to be a Carmelite, I didn't understand everything that was in that book. I don't know, St. John of the Cross, I didn't understand everything that was in St. John of the Cross by just reading it. I needed to learn. And learning is an essential part of the reason for meetings. The formation classes that take place, when we make our definitive promise, we don't stop reading, we don't stop learning, we continue. And the meeting is the opportunity for increased learning. The meeting is the opportunity that we have to do something to help strengthen our knowledge of what our saints teach. I've had the greatest fortune in the world in knowing communities in many places throughout the world where the secular order members knew they knew our saints wonderfully. They knew what they taught, and they lived what they taught, but they got it from meetings. They got it from formation classes. And formation classes aren't just for those in initial formation. And formation classes are not just for those in the novitiate or in temporary promise. The whole community has the obligation to learn, including the president. The formation director of the community is a very important person for coordinating. She or he does not have to do all the formation, but he has to coordinate. He has to help organize this so that there can be the opportunity for real study. Study is a wonderful and important part of the life of anybody who has a mind. Anybody who's capable of reading, but not only capable of reading, because there's some places in the world where people understand St. Teresa, St. John of the Cross, because of the good formation they've gotten, who might not be able to read or might not be able to have books. Some places in the world where the secular order is present, the books aren't available, or the languages the books are not available. But the secular order members still are able to know what the St. John of the Cross teaches, what's the St. Teresa teach. The members of the order, those who make a commitment to the order, are responsible in the church for presenting the teaching, the true teaching of St. Teresa, St. John of the Cross. It's our responsibility, all of us, not just the friars, and certainly not just the nuns. But the secular order members they commit themselves to that by committing themselves to the order. It's not all privilege. Privilege means responsibility. We want the privilege of the scapular. We want the privilege of being Mary's chosen. Well, then, it's a responsibility. We have to learn what that responsibility is, and to me, that's one of the most important motivations for understanding the importance of meeting. I missed something when I missed meeting with my brothers. I missed something. So my brothers and sisters, again, the spiritual importance, psychological importance, and that's called educational importance. Educational. Educare, from Latin, which is the foundation of education, means lead out of darkness into light, lead out of ignorance into knowledge. It's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity, the meeting, for learning. In the structure of the meeting, I think formation has to be perhaps equal to any prayer activity. The time spent on meetings. Now, I know there are different things throughout the whole world. There are many different ways in which the secular order organizes the community. The communities organize their time spent in meetings. Some communities, on one Sunday of the month, meet from 10 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Some meetings, some places, 8 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock in the evening, longer. Other places, shorter meetings, but more frequent meetings, because they're able to do, because people live in the same region, in the community. So they have meetings twice a month. Some places organize it so that they have a meeting, a separate time for the initial formation, and a separate time for the ongoing formation. And then in the general meeting, there's just a general spiritual conference. But the time for formation actually takes place. There's a ratio that I help to put out for the level of learning that we can do in each stage of a thing. Then there's important things to discuss in the initial formation, the very initial, from getting familiar formation. Aspirant, postulant, novitiate, initial formation for the temporary promise. There's also a section on the formation for ongoing formation, or formation after the temporary promise, after definitive promise. We are agents, actors. Agents means actors. We are actors in the church and the world who present what St. John of the Cross, what St. Teresa, and all our other saints lived and taught. But we have to learn it. So all of us at every stage, we are learners. And the learning is a very important part of meeting with the brothers and sisters of the community. The opportunity to form community and to learn, to help each other to learn. Remember, I said about the purpose of community. We come together to learn how to be alone with. If I want to isolate myself from the community, I am alone. But the community helps me to understand how to be alone with God. And that's a fundamental identity of a community. That's the fundamental identity of a Carmelite community. It's the fundamental identity of a Carmelite. Carmelite without community makes no sense. The fourth motivation for meeting is what you call business. There's activities that the community has to do for business. In the structure of the meeting, there's always a section on the meeting which requires some attention by those who are the definitive members to the organizational structure of the community. If you have to pay some rent to a room in a parish church, or the parish building, you have to have some income to be able to do that. We need some income sometimes to be able to reprint educational material that we want to have. So there's a business structure. And there also is, in the meeting, a recreational structure. In the meeting, there's time for enjoying each other's company, maybe having a meal together. Some places have a light lunch or a real lunch. Some places have a snack at the end of 15 or 20 minutes, half an hour dedicated to time just talking to each other, just joking, laughing, maybe even entertaining each other. There was the 13th chapter of the Book of Foundation of St. Teresa. St. Teresa talks about her relationship. It's a very wonderful part of her relationship with St. John of the Cross. Unfortunately, we don't have any of the letters that either of them wrote to each other. None of them. I'll tell you a story about St. John of the Cross. after I finish this part. But in the 13th chapter of the Book of Foundation, St. Teresa talks about her relationship with St. John of the Cross. He was first friar with Anthony of Jesus. But St. Teresa took St. John of the Cross with her to make the foundation of Valladolid in Spain. And she said, before the foundation was actually made, when they still did not have cloister imposed, she brought St. John of the Cross into the community of the nuns. And she said, about prayer, there are so many things he could teach me. He's excellent, wonderful. But there was only one thing I could teach him: recreation. And then I remember the phrase that she says in Spanish, recreación, nuestro estilo de hermandad, our style of brotherhood, our style of sisterhood, our style of relating to each other. Recreation, in recreation. Not in saying prayers together, not in studying books together, but in relaxing with each other. That also is an intimate part of community. The nuns and we friars, we live in community. But you, Sacred Order members, make community. This is the importance. We used to use the word fraternity for the Sacred Order community, but it's better to use the word community, because St. John Paul II, a lot of his spirituality for the church was based on communion, understanding community, communion. So we understand that these are, to me, 5 motivations for meeting, 5 motivations for the importance of meetings: spiritual, psychological, educational, organizational, and recreational. And for those 5 reasons, meetings are very important. Please, if you would like to, please subscribe to this video, hit the like button, and you can always make any comments or ask any questions in the comment section. I believe in your vocation to the Sacred Order. I love your vocation to the Sacred Order. And for that reason, I'm making these videos as I am. This is number 21 in the series of videos. God bless you very much.